Our guest today is a family nurse practitioner that specializes in aesthetics. She is located in the South Florida area. Please help me to introduce family nurse practitioner Danielle White.
Hi guys, I'm so happy to be here with you, Jonathan. I've been watching your stuff and I think it's fun that you're just helping promote us and education, which I think is the biggest part of our field. So I'm Danielle White. I am the owner and primary injector at Deluxe Aesthetics. I am located in Fort Lauderdale. I've been injecting since 2015, and I love it. My background's emergency medicine, so that was a flip. But I really found this to be my niche and my true passion.
Amazing, amazing. I'm so excited to jump right in.
Let's do it.
Hey Danielle, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good, good. So take us back to the beginning. How did you get started in this crazy industry called aesthetics?
Okay. So I actually always wanted to go into plastics.
Nice.
But this was many, many moons ago. And there really wasn't a space for advanced practitioners except for maybe follow-up care. And then shortly after I graduated with my master's, like 2014, 2015, there was a national company called Ideal Image that was absolutely utilizing advanced practitioners. So I actually started my career there. And I hope I don't upset anyone with my stories or opinions, but I don't feel that they are truly injectable driven. I feel that their expertise is more so in body, sculpting or laser hair removal. So I needed to find somewhere that I could really dive into the injectables. And I went to another large company and I actually received most of, if not all of my education there. And it was great education. And I spent a couple years there and then we parted ways and I went on to do some consulting for other companies and just helping them build their brand, their patient load, things of that nature, policy, procedure. And then my husband actually and a good friend of mine, were both like, why are you not doing this for yourself? And I was super timid, but because of both of them, I pretty much took the leap and here we are going into 3 years later.
Nice, nice. Wow, that's amazing. That's truly amazing, actually, the progress that you've made since then.
Yeah, it was progress too. I always tell new injectors, you're not going to feel good for like a year, so just take a deep breath.
For sure, for sure. Now, I know behind the scenes we're talking a little bit about true experience. Can you explain that? Because I thought that was a really good point that you made.
Yeah, so I trained for Allergan under their Allergan Medical Institute.
Nice. And
they just launched the infraorbital hollows with Juvederm Volbella. And we were discussing there how to basically allow who qualifies for this training, because we don't just want everyone to do it. And the question of experience came up and it was like, okay, well, it should be everyone who's been injecting for 3 years or longer. And, the trainers as a team were like, well, wait a minute, what if it's a 3-year injector that, maybe is also, I don't know, a gynecologist or working primarily or heavily in derm. So meaning the aesthetic patients they see as far as injectables is maybe 10 a week. Versus maybe we have an injector who's only been injecting for a year and a half, but she's seeing 70 patients a week. One could argue that the person more experienced is actually the 1.5 year injector because of the amount of patient volume that she's seeing, which is then triggering repetition, which is key to skill. So yeah, for me, experience comes down to how much you're actually injecting versus how long you've been injecting.
Yeah, and the reason I wanted you to talk about that point, because it's so interesting, because I obviously do recruiting and I place injectors, and I always tell like the upper staff or the HR director, like, it is really depending on how many people they inject a week, what techniques are they practicing, how many trainings are they going to, things of that nature. I really want to touch on, I know you're an Allergan trainer. How did you get into that position? How has it changed your career?
Yeah, so I was actually recruited by my BDM. We had formed a relationship and, my BDM with another company actually had got me into training, but same thing. She just saw my skill, recognized it, my passion. I'm really big on educating my patients and she had witnessed that. And she's like, I just think you'd be great to take this to your colleagues. And so that's how I got into it. And then with AMI, they picked me up about, I think it's been 4 years that we've been in love. So they picked me up and I just dived into that. And I think the biggest thing that's made me successful with that is I don't have an ego. I respect everyone. I've been called into offices, you know, back to years of experience to help, I like to say, share ideas versus training, share ideas, techniques, you know, with injectors that, you know, were injecting when I was still like in high school. And I give them that respect. I'm not there to change anything that they're doing if they're not having issues with it. I would just love to teach them something new. And then I've gotten so many friends out of going into these offices and trainings, true friends. So it's changed my career and it's created community for me, camaraderie. And then I also learn from the injectors too. I'll get all these cool tips that they're doing that I wasn't doing, and I'm like, that works. So that's why I pretty much focus on calling it sharing ideas. But yeah, so that's how I got in it. They recruited me, they asked. And AMI has a phenomenal, this is not a plug, I've trained for a couple different companies, and the amount of time, money, and research and passion they put into their program, you know, it bounces off their trainers. And I'm just blown away with the quality videos they put out. You know, they don't tiptoe around things. Obviously, they always stay compliant, but it's really, really deep education. You know, they're working with Dr. Yolan, they're working with Dr. Chris Surik. You are going to watch these videos and it's not going to be a waste of your time versus other programs and companies. No offense, it's my opinion. I feel that the education they're offering isn't as rich as it could be.
That's a good point. And I'm sure everybody will check that. I'll drop all those names she just mentioned. You know, so everybody can check that out.
Well, Dr. Yolan, he's a real OG. He doesn't even have, I don't think he has a Google listing, but he's in California. But he definitely doesn't have an Instagram, and he's actually known for that. He's 100% word of mouth. He's phenomenal.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
What are your opinions on the South Florida industry since you've been injecting? What are the trends you've seen? How has things have changed?
I think we're definitely ahead of the curve. So to inject in South Florida, I think is so exciting and fun because we're doing so many more things than maybe the Midwest is doing. Obviously, there's trends of, you know, temple filler, tear trough, a lot of what's considered off-label. Well, tear trough's no longer off-label, but temples, jawlines, you know, liquid nose jobs, things like that. But I do like that I feel that we are collaborating more with the estheticians in our field now. I can't remember what great mind shared this with me, but it's something that I regurgitate all day long. And it was basically like, we want to make sure the table's good, right? You need to make sure the structure's good, but who cares what the table looks like if the tablecloth looks bad, meaning your skin. So always bringing, you know, being collaborative and bringing that full rounded education to the patient of the aging process and bringing in our estheticians to give our patients the most complete, you know, plan of care as far as aesthetics go.
Well, I'm so glad you brought that up, and I'm excited to ask you, how big of a role does the esthetician play in kind of your business?
Oh, hugely. A very good friend of mine, her name is Gina Zimmerman. She owns Flawless Skincare. She works with me. I didn't want any employees. So if you know me, I'm very pro-woman. So I just built up her self-esteem and said, girlfriend, you need to open, and you need to open next door to me. I would love to offer your services to my patients. Nice. I had been a patient of hers. I knew that what's important to me always is, one, she is educated, she is passionate, and she provides quality service. You know, and she, you know, people are people to her. They're not just passing through like cattle. And so we collaborate all day long. I'm also very honest and truthful with setting expectations for patients. I had one earlier today. She's aging beautifully, and her complaint and issue was going to be solved with skin tightening, not so much filler, because her bone structure and, like I said, the process of aging for her is so nice. So then I immediately set her up. She'll see Gina on Friday. Wow. Because I've always told my patients, patients come to us for insecurities. Yeah. I'm a female. I have a couple of those too. So I hold that near and dear to my heart. So I don't care if you're spending money with me or one of my colleagues. I just want you spending money with the best treatment and service that's going to yield the result to lessen that insecurity you have. So it's a collaboration, whether it be with my plastic surgeon or with Gina and my esthetician.
Nice, nice. Yeah. What are some basic tips for healthy skin?
Oh God, Gina, where are you? No. So we got to always remember God's nectar, which is tretinoin, or also known as Retin-A. That's something that if your skin can tolerate it with the appropriate dosing and use of it, it should. That's something to do. And just a routine that is stable and consistent. So back to Retin-A. If you're using it once a week, what is that doing for you? Yeah. You need to get to a dose that your skin's tolerant of, so that way you're using it, twice a day, every day. I'm sorry, not twice a day, forgive me, tretinoin's only at night. So that we're getting it to where you're using it nightly every day. And your skin is not showing that it's red, irritated, or mad about that use, because if it is, are you going to continue it? No. So I would say a manageable skincare routine that you are using. You'll have your nighttime routine and your morning routine, and then also seeing your injector and your esthetician. Think of it as teeth. So even if you see the dentist twice a year, you're consistent, but you don't brush your teeth twice a day. How good can your teeth really be? Yeah. So that's the thing with skin, right? Yeah, you come and see me 3 to 4 times a year for Botox, which will have improvement, but we're never going to get to goal because you're not doing anything at home, which that's the kicker, because that's something you're doing every day, twice a day. So I would say consistency and quality products. Please stop buying them at Target, Sephora, all these other places. Don't buy them from Walmart either. It could be counterfeit. But make sure you're seeing a licensed esthetician, injector, dermatologist, someone that is able to provide, quality and real medical grade skincare for you. Nice. Yeah. Great tips.
Now, in the bigger areas like South Florida, I see a lot of like body dysmorphia, right? People want it bigger, better all the time. I want more. How do you deal with that in your business, and how do you kind of, when a customer comes in or things like that?
I confront it. So I actually just did a post about that today. So because you were coming, Jonathan, I did my makeup. Nice. And I went to post a picture. I usually, whenever I'm doing production stuff, I have a wonderful makeup artist. Her name's Christy Artistry. And I mean, literally, homegirl, I'm like, is this a filter or is this my real skin? She makes me feel beautiful. And long story short, I did my own makeup today, and I went to take a picture, and I immediately was dissatisfied with it. And I wanted to throw a filter on it. And I think we all suffer from that. And I'm like, if I were my friend and I looked at the picture I took, I would think that was a beautiful photo. But because it's me, I want to tear myself down. And so many people do that. And I actually shared this with a close friend of mine because she's like, oh my God, she saw herself in a video. She's like, do I really look like that? And I'm like, you look fantastic. And she really didn't believe that. And I felt like she felt I wasn't recognizing her concerns. So that's the first thing. I tell my patient their concerns are real, right? They're real to them, but let's break them down. And when they give you a celebrity, and I'm gonna use Khloe Kardashian as an example, because I arguably think she looked great in that photo that was leaked, that was untouched. I'm like, okay, well, if you don't want to look that way untouched, can I look that way untouched? But she was so upset, and she looked fantastic. So my point is, when they show you these celebrity photos, I'm like, you are out of your mind if you think that photo hasn't gone through not only filters, but photo editing, light editing. They are perfect. And I promise you, Kim and Khloe have pores. They have pores. So it's just bringing back that reality with the patient, letting them know that these filters really are, I think, one of the primary cause in the increase of the body dysmorphia, because we don't see ourselves anymore. So in a video, most of us can't edit a video. So you're seeing your real face. So that's why they don't like it. Every photo they've been taking of each other for the last 5 years has had some love. The pretty filter was my favorite filter. And it enhances things subtly that we do aesthetically. But the thing is patients sometimes come in with unrealistic expectations because of those filters or because of a celebrity. And then I also think what is feeding the body dysmorphia too is the celebrities not being truthful. They're not disclosing what they've done. Like, listen, we've seen, I'm going to go ahead and regurgitate a line we've heard, all the last year. Like, J-Lo, you're stunning, but you're not God's favorite child. It's not olive oil, sis. So whether it is cryotherapy, I don't know, skin treatments, fine, sure, I'll entertain that you haven't been injected, but I have to say, I don't believe it. And we need to stop that negative stigma. I'm still natural. I've been in this business for 7 years. I'm 36. And I started being injected when I was 27. And, I did that for the prevention. And I just think that, and at the time, my friends were kind of like, you're so vain. You don't need to do that. Well, now it's like, why do you have no lines? I'm like, I'm so vain. It's just the proof is in the pudding. This stuff works. If you stop, I'm 6.5 months pregnant. I haven't been injected. I don't look like an ogre. But we have to take away that negative stigma that you're not natural because you've been injected. Most, if not all of my patients, I'm genuinely taking this canvas and I'm enhancing it. They all look like themselves. They just look like they had a really good nap and a couple shots of olive oil. So, but I just confront it and I try to be human with them because so many of my patients think I'm beautiful. And it's so wonderful to me because I'm like, oh, well, here's my list of what I don't like about myself, know? So I wish we saw each other how the other person sees us.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a great point. You're definitely right. Like, having that self-image, and I think it starts with like a lot of confidence, though, like gaining that confidence, though, to really make that change.
And you gotta just start listening to like Meg Thee Stallion, Lizzo. Like, if you don't have self-esteem, them girls will give it to you.
Yes, they're really big with the branding and like really a lot of branding in the industry.
Yeah.
I know you are really big at branding too. That's actually how I found you.
Yeah.
And I love your hashtag, Realself.
Oh, Realself. What was that? Oh, that was an award I got. It was years ago. They only did it once. It was like Realself Most Loved Injector. Yeah, that was really cool because that one we were nominated by strictly peers. Yeah. So that was really flattering. But that was like 2017 or so.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think we still use that hashtag, but I don't know that it has any clout.
How did you keep your branding so good? How do you keep your branding so tight throughout all these years?
Well, one, I'm flattered because I have branding. So I was working with a girlfriend of mine and she was handling most of that for me. And then she was doing me a favor. So I just needed someone that had more time for me. So I moved on to plastics media and I've been working with them. And I really, now I feel like I have a genuine branding. But before that, honestly, don't laugh at me, Jonathan, but just, oh God, it's so cliche. I feel like Miss America. Just being myself, but truly just bringing my my personality to my patients to Instagram. But, I don't have a lot of followers. And let me tell you, organic growth on Instagram, it is hard. Yeah. So I look at some of my good friends like Lamore Weinberg. She has like 7 billion followers. And I always tease her if we're together. I'm like, it's my Insta famous friend. Hi. Can we take a picture? So super proud of her. I feel she has a brand that does branding, but for me, I hire that out, Jonathan.
Nice. How has social media played a role in your career or helped to progress it?
I would say more word of mouth has.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, social media presence is important, but again, I don't have a large following. And honestly, the last 2 years, and specifically just the last 3 months, have I really had patients come in because of my Instagram. Before that, it was really just, someone told someone. Until 3 months ago, I had $0 invested in marketing.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Now that's great. And the reason that is great is because when people tell other people, that means they're satisfied with their service. Yeah. So that means you have a strong relationship with your patients when they come in.
Oh, 100%. And like my Google reviews, all of that, they mean so much to me because look, we've all been asked to leave a Google review, right? Yeah. And you're like, oh my God, I love you, I'll do it. But like time, you forget this and another. So when I look at those reviews and I know that patient stopped what they were doing to write that review, and a lot of mine are very heartfelt. I'm like, put them on my fridge. There is no better compliment as a medical provider, let alone an injector, to receive this, a review, because it's just a positive message about how you made someone feel. And at heart, we're all medical providers, and that is 100% why I got into this, to make people feel good. Yeah. And to know that I do that is, it's very, very humbling.
Nice. Yeah. Let's flip and talk about your business now. That's where we're at right now, in your office. Tell us, how did you get started, and tell us how this process has been?
So as far as specifically opening my place,
Mm.
again, my husband and a good friend of mine just gave me, pushed me out the door, and God, blessings, destiny. I know those are big, heavy words, but I mean, when I opened, I was booked.
Wow.
I have a lot of people that come to me and they want to open.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel guilty. I want to push them to open, but I understand that my path was very unique. I had the following, I had the patience, I had the not just patience, but loyalty. So when I opened my doors that first week, I was booked with patients.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
So, and I know I'm very thankful for that. I'm very thankful that I know that is not common. So my path, secondary to that, my reputation, everything I had done before I opened my doors is what got me here. So I would say positive patient experience in relationships. That's what's developed this. And then I just continue. And the word of mouth gets bigger and bigger. And then now I also have branding and, social media content creators. And we, sky's the limit. I want to keep it small. That's who I am.
Yeah.
That's who I am. I like to control the customer experience. So, I mean, really what you see is what you get, and it's what it'll be.
Nice. What services do you offer here?
So all injectable based. So again, I work with Gina. So I wanted my patients to have the full aesthetic experience, but I was limited to really only offer them injectables. I didn't want to dive into body contouring or anything like that because I don't have any investor. Well, I guess you're gonna call my husband my investor. We're investors together. But I didn't have any big investors behind me. This was all us. So I didn't have the ability or really the desire to buy a bunch of devices. Because again, like I told you, I'd done some consulting, and that's one of the biggest things that new aesthetic spas do wrong. Large build out. And then tons of devices right away. So before you open your doors, you owe this many people, that much money. So you're already in the hole. Yeah. But I still wanted them to get a full experience. So for me, it's I carry the full portfolios of both Allergan and Galderma. Oh. So, all your neurotoxin, your hyaluronic acid-based fillers. I do offer Sculptra, which is PLLA, polylactic acid. I should probably say that instead of just assuming everyone knows the shorthand. And then Kybella as well. And then I consider that I also offer what Gina offers, which is VI chemical peels, hydrofacials, standard facials, Virtue radiofrequency microneedling, medical grade skincare, and then, all the frilly stuff, the lash lifts, things like that, she's able to provide my patients too if they want it.
Nice, definitely. That's so awesome, actually. Yeah. Everybody come visit. I'm going to tag her stuff below so you can check it out.
Yeah, please do.
Now, at this point, I want to dive into her social media and get a little bit more context of some of the pictures on your Instagram. So let's talk about the jawline one. Not the jawline. Let's talk about the skincare one when the patient went from a really bad skincare routine to changes or outcomes that were like amazing.
Yeah. So I know who you're talking about. That is actually a great picture because it's actually not just skincare, it's a combination of injectables and skincare. So some people are just in a place to really dive in and commit to a regimen and also a plan. So we have done for her, bringing everything together. So this is a very inclusive treatment that she's had. She's had temple filler, cheek filler, tear trough filler, lip filler. You bring up jawline, which I think is very important because 9 times out of 10, if my patient comes in and wants jawline filler, we don't even start with jawline filler. The thing is you need to make sure the ratios of the face are in proportion. So you need to make sure that their chin falls in line where it's supposed to. Because believe it or not, a lot of people just have a short chin. So all of this tissue has nowhere to go and it looks very full. Oh God, I don't want to do this face, but it looks very full and bunched up. So if you bring the chin to the appropriate proportions, it's actually going to reveal a jawline that's already there. The second step is so it's first, always make sure your proportions are in line. Then the second step is going to be, do we have any sub-Q fat that needs to go, that's blocking, this jawline that they want? Someone who's young but is notorious for this would be Kylie. She is beautiful, but she's young and she absolutely looks older than she is because she took that soft tissue, that roundness that made her look young. She took that away. I cannot confirm, but I would assume with her sister being one of the spokespeople for Kybella that she might have had some, as well as maybe some chin filler. And obviously I could go on. But the biggest message is chin first, consider Kybella second, whether that's to the jowls or the submentum, really clearing that out. And then only then circling back to the jawline filler, because it can be a money pit. It can take a lot of filler if you start first, when really it's just backwards to start there. You need to make sure that your chin's where it needs to be. And if you have if you're full, the answer is to remove that fullness. It's not to add more fullness, which would be filler. Yeah. So that is something that she wanted, but really we worked on her chin and did Kybella. And then she sees Gina for radiofrequency microneedling as well as hydrofacials and VI peels. And if you look at that picture, she was very red, very inflamed skin. And Gina, with also appropriate skincare, was able to really just tighten her skin, illuminate her skin, and help her get her that full aesthetic, complete journey where it is today.
Wow. I'm sure you can see on the picture that's coming up or it has been by. Yeah. Now I know you're big at facial balancing.
Yeah.
How important is, I know you touched on it just a little bit, but how important is it to really look at every person differently and kind of get that facial balancing harmonization? You
know, it really comes with time. That's probably also another top request I get from the injectors that I spend time with training and stuff is, I just want to be able to look at the face and know what it needs. And that resonates with me so seriously because my mentor early on, he was just so good. I mean, 2 seconds, he look at a face, you know. Yeah. I have a post about being at Starbucks or any coffee shop, and that's just what we do all day. We are exercising this skill. Looking around. My husband actually does it. He'll be like, I know what she needs. And he's almost right. And I'm like, wow, I'm a really good educator. But so it becomes second nature to be able to assess the face and see what it needs, but it comes with time. I don't know that I felt 100% confident doing that. It was well over a year, and it required a lot of training, a lot of exposure, a lot of experience. And by that, I mean back to exposure, patient experience. But it's 100%. It's more important than probably anything else we do, because I can take someone who feels, and I want to say that strong, feels unattractive. She's probably attractive, or he is, but they feel unattractive because those portions or ratios are off somewhere. So if I have a patient that comes in and they complain about their nose, and I look at them and they have a short chin, believe it or not, if I inject their chin, it's going to make their nose look more balanced. It's going to make it look more small.
Wow.
If I have someone who feels very round, again, maybe sub-Q fat is an issue. Back to the chin. If I look at that chin and it's short, I can elongate the face, make it look thinner by adding filler to the chin. We could flip this. If I have someone who has a very big chin, okay, and they have flat cheeks, I can bring harmony and balance to the face by filling the temples and the cheeks. Everything should just kind of look equal. So if you have wide set eyes, a large nose, big lips, if you're missing a chin, we add a chin. It just becomes second nature. You start looking, or I had a patient today, she's literally perfect. I looked at her profile and it was like, I see everything that I need, working my way down, but where are her lips? She needs lips. So lips don't always have to be this outrageous big thing. It could actually be the missing piece to just bring harmony and balance naturally to the face.
Wow. So cool. Yeah. So cool.
Yeah. There's a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
People say aesthetics are easy.
And I was just telling you that behind the scenes a little bit. Like, not everyone can do this. It's very, like, not only do you have to be a provider, but you have to be an artist too.
100%. We are artists.
Yeah.
Plastic surgeons are artists. Most of them literally in their spare time do art. Dr. Subio is, really big on display. His Instagram's all his art. So Dr. Woodward, she works with Duke and she's also with AMI. She is a fantastic artist. So now me, guys, I really can't draw. I'm just going to put it out there. But I am a good injector. And that is my art. That is my media, is the human face and being able to apply these things to, decrease the signs and symptoms of aging and enhance attractiveness.
Nice. Now, the second picture I want to talk about is the one at AMI.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about this in context.
Yeah. So I trained for AMI, which, like I said, for me personally, I really have a lot of love for the program.
Yeah.
I also have a lot of friends that train for AMI, and don't get me wrong, that's a select group of us. I have great friends that are phenomenal injectors that, they're not a part of AMI, but they're just as good as the rest of us. But I am very honored and lucky to be a part of that program. And they just had us in California to do the IOH release, because Volbella is now FDA indicated to place filler to the tear troughs. So I train for them both nationally and in the States. With my son on his way, I will only be training in the state now. That was probably a newsflash for anyone on AMI that's watching. So I will be back to doing my national travel after he's a little bit older. So I travel all over with them. It's a great team. It's great. It makes me better. Because again, sometimes I'll watch these educational, we have to do all everything that we teach people, we literally have to do. So we have to do all those videos, all those tests, everything. And humbly enough, sometimes I'll watch those videos and I'll be like, learned something new today. So if it's not a waste of my time, it's surely not a waste of the next injector's time.
Yes, definitely. Congratulations on your pregnancy also.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem. How has that been, being an injector and being pregnant?
Oh, it's fine. If anything, it makes me feel more loved, more special. My patients are so sweet to me, and my little growing family, so more special. But other than that, my patients will tell you when I delivered my daughter Quinn, I was having contractions in here injecting.
Wow.
Yeah, if you know me, I'm a little, I'm special. Hard worker might be an understatement. Yeah. So I will ride this. I'm comfortable. I'm blessed. People don't have easy pregnancies. And even the complaints I do have, they are very small compared to others. So as long as he is safe and I'm safe, we will this is my second baby. Maybe one of my patients will deliver this one. Let's hope not.
Okay, for sure. Commitment.
Someone's got to be here for them.
Definitely. Now, being in this industry so long, and training some new injectors also, what are some tips you can give to new providers looking to enter the industry or getting a new job, things like that?
So getting into the industry.
Yeah. So
when I entered, there weren't a lot of trainings.
Yeah.
So it was really a hands-on training situation. Like you learned on the job, is what I meant to say. It was an on-the-job training situation. Yeah. I was fortunate that I walked into after Ideal, which they did, we went for 2 weeks to learn laser and all that. But as far as injectables, it wasn't impressive. Yeah. My second job, however, I was hands with my mentor. I was also surrounded with, 3 other actually, incredible injectors. And we worked so closely together. I'm still friends. Nicole, Liz, Michelle Porter. Michelle Porter actively injects over on the West Coast in Sarasota. She's phenomenal. And Liz Benzie is still injecting in Arizona, but I believe she's on maternity leave. And I could go on. There's Lisa, there's Brandy, there's Diana. There's so many injectors that came out of my previous company, and we are still together. But that, again, my story is special. No one gets that type of training to be one-on-one with that many skilled injectors and as well as their mentor. I mean, I'm talking like every day. So that is a caveat. And if you can find yourself in that situation, please do. Outside of that, if you need to just get in the door and get the experience, consider Ideal or some other large company. Just to get in the door, it's like any career. And then as far as training, you do have to make a personal investment. I am a huge fan of focusing on anatomy because that's the basis, right? So if you learn anatomy and you get comfortable with that, it takes away what's going to hinder you, which is fear, right? Whenever I go in to inject or to teach, I'm like, oh, I don't do that. I'm scared. Okay, well, let's talk about that. Make it real for me. Why are you scared? Because a lot of us are scared of things that aren't real. So if we break it down and they understand it, they're like, oh, I should feel more comfortable doing that. Dr. Chris Zurich did that for me, his course. I was like, I will never inject, tear troughs with a needle. And then I did a dissection of, a human head. And I really confronted my fears and they weren't real. And now I am able to yield even more beautiful results using that new technique that I learned via him. I think Dr. Arthur Swift, Dr. Kodafana, I think all of them are fantastic. They're all, anatomists in their own way. Lamore Weinberg is local and I adore her. And she's just, what makes a good trainer and teacher is someone who's relatable, someone who talks to you, not at you. So I think doing one of Lamore's 3-day courses or shoot, if she'll keep you for 5, stay. But doing one of her courses is definitely going to be beneficial. I do not think these quick and dirty larger companies that are doing trainings, I don't think they're worth the investment. I would spend that money with L'Amour, Dr. Surik, Dr. Codofano, Dr. Swift any day over that. I will say that Allergan, and I'm truly not trying to plug, they just developed the Accelerate program. So, and it is a weekend course, but it's a value. Forgive me, I may be wrong, but I think there's 8 or 10 trainers that go. I think one's going to be in Miami soon, and it's based for new injectors because there's like 240 of us, maybe there's more, that we're responsible for the U.S. to teach and train. Yeah. It's really hard to teach a brand new injector in a 4-hour time frame. There's just so much. And of course we can categorize it like Botox only, lips only, things like that. But this is a weekend course. I think it's a total of 16 hours and they have so many trainers. So it's not one-on-one, but it's more intimate. Excuse me. And I would absolutely ask your BDM. You can't attend it unless you have an open Allergan account. That would be a caveat. But if you are you're already in the field, you're brand new, you're looking for something, and guess what? If you have an Allergan account and you're a customer of theirs, it's free.
What?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's insane. It would be a $5,000 to $6,000 course.
Wow.
Yeah. So of course it's probably going to blow up, and maybe the program will even get bigger. But I would consider that. And then, like I said, you got to make the investment. It's a write-off, But consider some of these more intimate settings versus these weekends. Learn everything. It's just not realistic.
No, I get you. I can definitely understand that.
Yeah.
And I give the same exact advice. And I also wanted to touch on the limiting beliefs theory that you just mentioned. That is a very real thing. There is a thing in your head that's telling you, hey, you can't do this. You're not that good. You won't get that far. But it's really pushing past that point to get to the next point to really succeed in what you want to do. So I think that's a good point that you made, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. It is. And it's understanding why. Tell me why you're scared. Let's dissect that. Let's take a minute, whether it's with yourself or me or you.
For sure.
You're getting so good. You could probably do this stuff yourself.
Right? No, I love learning about, even though I'm not a provider, learning about the different things that you guys struggle with, because having a good perspective of the industry allows me to give that value back to the industry.
Absolutely. So. And I know some of the recruitments you've placed. And,
amazing.
Shout out to Shay. I know she worked with you, and I think the world of her. So I think you're good. You're onto something.
Thank you. Amazing. Is there any training or conferences that you would recommend? I know you said the Allergan one, but anyone that you actually attend?
So back to Codofano, Swift, L'Amour Weinberg, and Dr. Chris Surik. I like the intimate settings. You can go, don't get me wrong, I'll go to AES and things like that. And no disrespect, I do think it's becoming brand heavy. Yeah. So, but it is a fantastic program that provides a lot of CMEs, which is very valuable to us. So there is that. But to truly, to learn skill, improve skill, things like that, I would visit one of the 4 that I mentioned. Yep. And I'm sure that, even Ronna Kinley in Chicago, she runs a program. Jubilant Julie, she has programs. There are fantastic injectors, and I apologize if I didn't mention someone because there's so many. But my whole take home from this, whether I mention them or not, is go to that type of intimate setting. Go to a training where maybe it's 8 or 12 people with one injector that, they're producing this content for you. I used to do private trainings, but I don't have the time anymore. And I'm so happy that I have all these amazing, wonderful, talented, like Energizer Bunny friends that are able to do this for our community. So that would be I know you're asking about conferences, but outside of CMEs for skill, for me, it's not the conferences, it's the individual injectors that you resonate with that really, you're just able to learn so much for them because, again, they're speaking to you, not at you.
Nice. Yeah. How did you make the directory for 100 best injectors?
This thing gets so much flack, and I don't understand why. It's just fun, guys. Yeah. It's just fun. Like, I don't treat it like I have, an Emmy. crystal little plaques over here. So I was nominated through colleagues and friends. You know, you post about it. I was shocked the first year because obviously there was like zero effort in that. So that was just, you know, natural. And then, but every year after I absolutely got into it, I thought it was fun. And I was like, oh yeah, let's win this again. Do I think that makes me better than my next colleague? No. And I'm glad you brought it up because I think it also is kind of insulting how people react to it. I don't pay for their directory. I don't pay to be nominated. The only thing I buy and pay for are those plaques because they're fun for me. Why not? Yeah. I'm not an actress. I don't have a chance to win an award, you know? And it does. It makes me feel good because my again, back to reviews, my patients or my friends and colleagues are writing in to nominate me. That takes their time. Time is valuable. So I'm flattered. I don't care who runs it. And I will let you know I'm not even paying for my plaque this year because it was sponsored. So that's for free.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing.
And I have gotten a couple patients from them, but
yeah.
I think it means more to our community. It means more, I'm going to use air quotes, everyone, be calm. But I think it means more to our community, or it's more fun in our community. I don't know how many patients it actually reaches. And of course I'm going to hashtag it or use it. Back to branding and marketing. Like, come on, if you're a plumber and you win Best Plumber Award, even if it's like your local city, I mean, who validates that? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I validate it by myself. I validate that award by my work. So I'm going to enjoy it. And that is how it's done. I advertise that I'm involved in the running, but outside of that, that's all it is. It's good people taking their time who believe in me to write into that email address to nominate me.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me, talking about the aesthetic industry, your passion, and sharing your clinic. It's amazing in here.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's quaint and little, and it means a lot to me. And I'm really so happy you reached out to me.
Yes.
I really enjoyed our time together.
Yes, for sure. Tell everybody where they can find you, what you got planned next.
Awesome. Okay. Well, Baby is next. But again, I'm at Deluxe Aesthetics. I'm located at Cypress and Andrews, right in the middle of Fort Lauderdale, right off of 95. I'm sure Jonathan will put my Instagrams there. You can always visit the website, deluxeaesthetic.com. You can self-schedule. You're more than welcome to DM me. Geez, guys, I'm getting good at this. DM me. You can also call or text 954-580-3190, and you're more than welcome to come see me anytime. I do have my schedule open through the second week of May, and then I will be gone until Labor Day weekend.
Nice, nice. Well, until next time, bye.
Bye.